investor, broker, friend, a mentor, and I've been doing real estate for, gosh, long time ago. But I'm originally from Mexico, but I came from Seattle, Washington, and I've been in Los Angeles for 7 years, and I've been a real estate broker for 11 years. I have 2 offices in Seattle, and when I moved to California, that was in 2007, and the market crashed, and I was just like, what the heck did I do? Why did I come here? But anyways, I just wanted you to get to know me because I'm the one that calls you on the phone after the meetings are done, and I want to make sure that you know my face. So when I call you and I ask you what are your interests, or if you have any properties, or if you are interested in wholesaling or investing, so you know who you're talking to. And so, with no further notice, I want to introduce my friend, my mentor, Mr. Sam Sadat. And so,
thank you, folks. Well, hang on one second. Let me get your coffee going first.
Better than what I thought.
How you guys doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm so glad you guys are not on vacation. You know why? Because if you were on vacation, nobody would be here. It's crazy. Anyways, everybody's doing well? I want to make sure everybody got a complete set of these, right? Okay. I'm going to go over them in just a bit. Let me take a look around first. Tonight I'm going to have a very special program, okay? We're going to have 2, for those of you who don't know me, first of all, how many of you are here for the first time tonight? Fantastic. Robbie, social media is working, baby. You know? That's great. By the way, that's Robbie Diggs, my webmaster. Does a great job. If any of you guys want to talk to him afterwards, you're going to be able to help me out, I'm pretty sure. So, 11 years ago, I started the club in the San Fernando Valley. In fact, I know still a few people that met me in the San Fernando Valley. Yeah. Where so? There you are. Yeah, San Fernando Valley, Airtel Plaza Hotel. 5.5 years in the San Fernando Valley. 5.5 years ago, I moved here because I wanted to be closer to home. You know, LA is awesome if you don't have to drive and commute. Really, I recognize that. It's the only thing that, I don't know, maybe I'm too sensitive, you know, the traffic and all, but if you take the traffic out of the equation, I think this is the best place to live. I live in Santa Monica, and every day people call me the valley. So freaking hot here, 110, 75 degrees. The breeze, open my window. Where else in the world would you get something like that?
Hawaii.
No. Hawaii humid, too humid. Too humid, and too hot too. But I tell you, besides Hawaii, okay, Hawaii, you're going to have the nightlife and all the great things that we got here in LA? No. You got anything you want in here. You know what I think? I think LA is really the global, what do I want to say? I want to say it's a global community, one of the probably most global community on the planet. If aliens landed right now, and, you know, anywhere they wanted to land, anywhere in the world, they probably should pick LA or New York as 2 of the places that have just about everybody from every corner of the world. Huh?
They'd be cab drivers.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Thank you. So anyways, so tonight, 11 years ago, I started education, networking, action. Those 3 things we wanted to do. Still doing it. We're still having a great time. Every day, I have new students that are joining to become investors. Many people ask me, say, Sam, I'm a real estate agent. Why would I need to know more about the training as an investor? Because real estate agents and investors look at things from 2 different perspectives. Okay? When you're selling a property to somebody, you're looking at condition. When you're investing in the property, you're looking at your life. Okay? You're really looking at your pocketbook. You're looking at your entire essence of being and identity. Because if you lose, it's a failure, it's going to impact you. Usually you never want to lose. Of course we lose. But I tell everybody, if you guys make 55% right decisions and 45% wrong decisions in a lifetime, you've done well. Seriously. Even if you're on the other side, you've done well. Because you make mistakes. But mistakes aren't bad. Mistakes are good. So education is great. Networking is awesome. But action is the name of the game. all right? So we're gonna do a lot of, I've got some of the opportunities for you for action we're gonna talk about. But I'm gonna teach you guys the power of nonverbal communication. You guys know what a nonverbal communication is? Nonverbal means in the language of the social psychologists or social scientists, nonverbal language is anything that has no words in it. It's nonverbal communication, all right? I don't want you to move at all or change your posture at all right now, at all. Just take an audit of your posture. Just look at yourself, notice how you're sitting. Are you guys crossing your arms? Are you guys hunched over a little bit? Are your attention someplace else? How are you sitting? How's your posture right now? I want you to take a eye on that, okay? Why is it important? Because the body language tells not only a lot about you to other people, but it also establishes your moods and your feelings about you, okay? And I'll prove that to you in just a second. Having said that, I just ask you to take a notice. Did you guys take a notice and take out of your body? Okay. Now, all I want you guys to do is uncross your legs, everybody. Uncross your feet. If you're slumping over, sit stop, straight on. Open up, okay? Just open up, okay? Your body length, okay? Open up. Could you put these things down and just open up? Open up. I'll show you some pictures, it's gonna blow you away. That in the animal world, have you seen the gorillas when they want to go to fight? What do they do? You know? Okay, have you seen like the Wonder Woman? Have you seen her posture? Like this, have you seen that? I'll show you something that will establish that with you. But let me tell you something. Okay, come on you guys. Say, let's everybody hear it. What did you say?
I said a little bit better.
There you are,
Wonder Woman.
the comedian. Come on. Alright, so everybody's sitting up. How do you feel now? Feeling a little bit more confident? Yeah? So I want everybody to stand up, okay? Go into a power posture. Okay, this is a no power posture, okay? This is a no power posture, okay? This is a no power. All right, okay, now high power posture. Stand up, okay? Open up, okay? All right, so good. Now what I want you to do is reach out, like in the hands, like in the side of the picture. Okay, hold it up. You feel it? Okay, hold that, okay? All right, now down, put your hands down, sit down. I want you to tell me, how do you feel? Just one little opening up. Okay, guys, let me tell you something. Caveat. I don't want you to go into some sort of a job hiring interview and stand up and then lose the opportunity to get the job and come to me later. Sam, you said go like this. I did the power posture. Everything has a place and a time. The time to do that is about 5 minutes before you go to the gig. Okay? Yeah. Like that. And 5 minutes after when you get the job, thank you so much, Michael. That's awesome. But what I'm trying to tell you is when you sit in front of that interviewer, there is nothing wrong with you taking the power position, opening up. Open up, sit straight. Nothing like that. You look at them, okay? You put a good smile, a beautiful smile on your face. Open facial expressions. I teach you something that I do on a regular basis, and I saw it works like a charm. And we talk about verbal and non-verbal communication and language. Verbal communication is a very percentage of human communication. The majority of it is body language, facial expression. I teach you something that I do when I negotiate in real estate deals. I don't listen to what comes out of the other person's mouth. You know what I look at? Their facial expressions. If they're opened up, if they're happy, if I'm making an offer and I see it in their eyes and in their body language, that they're open to that means I'm getting somewhere. I don't care if they say, no, this is not a good offer. I look at that body language. And if you begin to look and observe the behavior and the language of the body, it tells you so much more. That's something I'm going to cover tonight. So we're going to talk about a lot of nonverbal communication. All right? So you guys feeling better now? So if I ask you, how are you doing? How are you doing? Great? Everybody's feeling good? If you don't feel good, then do it again. Go like this, okay, or whatever. But please don't do it in places when you know you shouldn't be doing it. Or jumping up and down in front of a prospect or something like that. You're a loose deal, okay? So, anyways, And in the second part, we're going to talk about the self-directed IRAs for real estate investing. We're also going to talk about a whole bunch of wonderful stuff that it's going to be awesome. It's going to blow your mind. So you guys are ready to get going?
Yes.
So, how much that? All right, so cool. Let's go over this thing. And we're going to do some sort of, all right, effective communication. Do you guys agree that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your communication? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, if you have bad quality of communication, what happens? And if you have good quality of communication and it's received, okay, a two-way information sharing process which involves one party, okay, sending a message that is easily understood by the receiving party. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
I'll give you a perfect scenario for a lack of communication. Would you like some coffee? Or am I boring the hell out of you? Okay, so here's what I want to tell you about a situation, perfect misunderstanding. Grandma and grandpa, right? They just celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary. Everybody's left, grandchildren are gone, right? Okay, children are gone, they're together sitting. Grandpa is feeling it, he's feeling good, 60 years, feeling good about himself. So he turns to grandma. Grandma, I am proud of you. What did you say, Grandpa? I can't hear you. You know, I took my hearing aids out. I said I am proud of you. Yes, I know. I'm tired of you too. That is the perfect miscommunication. I'm proud of you becomes I'm tired of you, right? How often does that happen in our personal communication with people? With our children, with the other person? People come constantly tell me, Sam, I find deals. I'll go out there and get deals, but I can't consummate them. Well, if you can't consummate them, it's because you're not properly communicating with them. Everybody talks about negotiation, great, but negotiation is one form of effective communication. Okay? So, a two-way communication is one that is easily understood, not like our example, all right? And one-way communication is not going to lead anywhere. Who's really good at one-way communication? Give me an example. There are people that are good at one-way communication. Yeah. Kids? How about your wives? Are they pretty good at one-way communication?
Yeah.
Or some talkative husbands like me, right?
Sam, classic example is a number of the news reporters. When they're talking on a particular subject,
yeah,
and they don't allow, and they might have a guest there,
but they keep talking.
they keep talking, they ask the question,
Yeah.
and then they either allow the person 3 words
Yeah.
and continue.
Exactly. They say like, are there any questions? Yeah. Okay, that's good. Next question. I'm with you. That's true. How about comedians? They're excellent. You know, like remember what was his name? The guy, Jim Leno, Jon Stewart. You know, these guys are masters of one-way communication, but they're entertained. They entertain. But in a setting, in a social setting, in a business setting, you guys need to have that ability to properly communicate. Okay? Types of communication: verbal, non-verbal. Okay, what is a verbal communication? Anything that has words, content in it is verbal. Anything that doesn't is completely non-verbal. How many of you got children? How many of you got children? Okay, so do you remember, some of you guys are young here, do you remember your young children? They don't even speak, but with the way you say they tell you what they want. They tell you they need to, they got a tummy ache, they tell you they're sleepy. If you listen to the tonality, they call that the tonality, there are no words we communicate. That tonality is non-verbal. Your facial expressions. Okay, you have somebody in front of you and they say, nice to meet you, and you look at their frown and they say, they're not freaking nice to meet you. They're not even happy for you to be there. Don't listen at what comes out of their mouth. Look at their facial expression. Look at their body language. If somebody's really happy to see me, then they're going to have an open, like when I see Christina right there, she was like, boom, it's like right there. You could know she was happy to see me, and I think you felt that I was happy to see you. So one of the things that will make you effective in your life, how many of you guys come in and I said hello to you, and I shook your hand? Did you guys felt like you were welcome? Was I happy to see you guys? Did any of you guys not get that? Because if you didn't, then I got to work on myself more. Because the key issue is, even if you fail to connect one person, it's a setback for you. Because your job is to connect to as many people as you can. And a lot of times you don't have to say a thing. Just be and have that body language. Okay, have that facial expression, positive facial expression. Okay, so where did I go, bud? Here it is. Are we in the right place? One more? Yeah. Verbal, non-verbal. Okay, verbal was variance, social psychology. 10 to 15% of human communication, 10 to 15 is verbal. All the rest of it is non-verbal. What does that mean? A lot of it is tonality. Okay? Like, remember when you were children and somebody, even your mom, was mad at you? Christina! Just the way she said it. Or Christina, or whatever. Just the way you say Christina, the way you say it, how you say it, that tonality says a lot. Okay? Or Leonard, you already know you're in trouble, right? Leon, or so the tonality is a big part of communication, like 30% of communication. The rest of it is your body language, your facial expressions, and what communicates with other people without a word out of your mouth. So be careful, okay, with that part of it. All right, next. Verbal communication. A famous linguist once said that the language must have been invented for the sole purpose of deception. Do you guys agree with that? I didn't say that. A linguist said that. He says the language must have been invented for the sole purpose of deception. Okay, maybe it's not the sole purpose of deception, but maybe it's for a big chunk of deception. Let's put it that way. The bigger the city we live in, the more of that you see. Let me ask you a question. Animals do not have verbal language, right? When the lion gets hungry, does he have any qualms about communicating that he wants to eat that sheep on the land? No. Okay, but if we are going to do that, just translate it into a human intercourse. One of them is a lion, the other one is a sheep. We see that a lot in life, don't we? One part of the equation, the big guy, the powerful guy, lion, and the other one is a sheep. Okay? But we're not going to come out and show that we want to devour you. We deceive them first. Remember, you guys know about Machiavelli, the Italian crazy, the prince. Any of you guys have read The Prince? Yeah. Okay. So that's a lot of the so-called power maniacs in the world that essentially following the teachings of Machiavelli, and that's a lot about deception. So when you have language, I don't agree with the sole purpose of deception, but I definitely agree that we have, because of language, we can deceive others. Let me ask you a question. Do you remember that crazy James Jones or some dude like that, the cult that killed so many people, Jim Jones? Yeah. And there's so many others. I remember one of them, the comment, Hades comment. When the Hades comment here, a whole bunch of them killed themselves. Okay, how do you think that guy, that leader, okay, or that sucker, whatever that guy's title is, that person, how do you think that person got to all these people that they would actually do a mass suicide? Deception. He deceived them, yes or no? Yeah. And was what? With what? A lot of language, a lot of verbal, and he mastered the non-verbal language. Okay, have you guys ever watched Hitler, his orations, his lectures? I watched the History Channel, the Biography Channel. I don't speak a word of German, but boy, this guy, his thoughts, his words, and his actions, and the way he was communicating with body language, it was all aligned. That's why they believed him. He mastered the art of body language, and he knew what to say verbally. And he arose the entire nation. So it can be used for bad and for good. Okay, what we're talking about is the good part of it, not about the bad part of it. We're not talking about manipulating people. We're talking about affecting people and influencing people in a positive way, while you also affect your behavior. Because when you're open, when your nonverbal communication and your facial expression is open, when you got that heart with the power kind of thing going, then to that degree, you're going to also raise your own morale. You know what morale is? Morale is the state of high spirit, well-being. Not moral, it's morale. It's an E at the end, okay? So when you're talking about morale, it boosts your morale, body language. Next time you feel bad, immediately audit your body language. You feel like this, if you like that, you feel like this, you feel like pulling your hair, any of that kind of stuff, you immediately know the solution to your issue is not dropping some Prozac or Paxil or whatever else. And then after you do that, you want to make love to your wife, then you can't, then you got to drop some Viagra. So I mean, it's like, in our society, it's like constantly popping some pills for an instant magical sort of solution. Okay, but that doesn't work. We all know it works short term, but not long term, right? So anytime you do that, what do? Sit up in your car. Most of the people, look at, most people are like this. Sit up, open up. Immediately you feel better. Immediately you impact your body, your feeling, your mood, okay? Words come out of your mouth. We'll talk about power of words. Okay, oh, I left you, speaking of some solid education, and you're going to see, I left you a list here. This is you can take home. There are two sides to this page. One side, I have created a whole bunch of rebuttals. I'm going to show you on this slide. These are the rebuttals that you're going to be able to use in any form of communication or negotiation with your people, all right? And the other side is from one of my favorite books. It's called Power versus Force. It's by Dr. David Hawkins, Hawkins. It is not Stephen Hawkins. Okay, Stephen Hawkins, you guys know who that is, the famous astrophysicist. We're talking about David Hawkins. He's a PhD, MD. This book is absolutely awesome. I love this because you've got two columns of words. On the left-hand side, you have all the words that are associated with power, like abundant. On the other side of it, the word that is associated with force, which we think means the same, but it doesn't. Excessive. Is an excessive person coming from abundance, or is coming from something else? Because if you're coming from abundance, you don't have to be excessive. Okay, that's one example. You just didn't. What did you say?
What's the name of the book?
Power versus force. Okay, it's right at the top of that page.
I didn't realize it. Okay.
Yeah, like for example, allowing versus controlling. Which one is power, which one is force? Is allowing power or force? Is controlling power or force? Tell me. Allowing, power or force? Power. Controlling, power or force? What do parents do with their children? 24 hours a day control. And they wonder why we have so many nutcases out there. Seriously. I mean, think about that. It starts from your, but it doesn't mean that if that happened to you, you should here pull your hair out and feel sorry for yourself. No, the moment a person becomes conscious and aware that there is a technology and something out there that they can change their life where they should take action and stop blaming their parents, stop blaming their peers, stop blaming anybody else in the society and the government and everybody else. You have an excuse until the moment that you become aware of it. But the moment you become aware of it like now, stop controlling your children. Be more allowing. Does it mean you let them go and run off to the street and get killed? No. You have to find that fine line between allowing and controlling. I'll give you another one. Here, how about the difference between encouraging and promoting? We see too many of our companies in America and around the world, they constantly promote. Even to our children, even to other people. What do you do instead? Encourage. Encourage. A beautiful word comes from core, courage, heart. Corazon in Espanol, core in French, heart, encouragement. So anytime you encourage people, you're hitting them right there in their heart. They feel it. Anytime you promote, it comes right here. And contrary to the popular belief that we're all up here, I think we're mostly right here. It's the heart that runs the show. 2 months into infancy, at the embryo, the heart starts beating, and nobody knows why. Mystery? Nobody knows. Why? It wasn't there the day before. It comes there. It's not the brain, it's the heart. So that's our energy. It's where it is. So that's a great one. How about this one? Inviting or urging. Next time you want to say, I urge you to come to my party, what are you going to say? I want you to come to my party. Isn't that much more beautiful word? Okay? How about this one? Leading or coercing? Are politicians leading or coercing? You guys tell me. Okay? I don't call these bozos leaders. I can guarantee you that if you just fire all of them and go take the first 100 people that they run into and put them in there, that nothing will ever change. I'm telling you, based on results, I've been in this country, I came here as a teenager. I've been all the years, like 40 years I've been here. It is so clear to me that these guys are not leaders. They're coercers. They're after something else, okay? And that is definitely not your welfare. Because if it was your welfare, then 1% of this country would not own 33% of the wealth. Do you understand that? Okay? So whose responsibility is that? Now that you become aware of it, are you going to sit, blame, pull your hair and start blaming yourself? Or say, wait a minute, I have control over my future. My future is not like my past. I can change it at any time. And make a decision and change it. That's it. You have control over it, right? You can allow that to happen, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay? So let me give you another word. So you know the power of this thing. The power, okay? How about powerful versus forceful? How often are we forceful? Let me ask you a question. I study history, American history and European history. I'm a crazy reader. I study history, philosophy, religion, math, physics. I'm an engineer by education. I tell you something amazing. The America that I used to know, it was powerful. The America that you see today is forceful. And that's why that's the reason for the decline. And if you don't change America to a powerful nation, look out. Look out. Okay? Because power is where everything lies. Power is right here. Force is here. Eventually, this will win. I guarantee you. Okay? So, as you can see, how about this one? Striving or struggling? Next time I ask you when you're struggling in life, somebody, how are you doing? Oh, I'm really struggling. How about saying, oh, I'm striving? Even saying that raises your vibration. Even saying that word. Okay, so begin to change all these disempowerment or bad words or negative words or the ones that lower your vibrations and energy. You start lowering them and go into the higher words that give you vibration. If you want to use verbal language, might as well use the right ones. Okay, might as well use the powerful words. Okay, everybody with me? I gave you enough of that?
Yes.
All right. All right, and on the other page, you're going to see rebuttals. I'm going to cover them very quickly, all right? So next, ready? Okay, this is the one right here. All right, non-verbal communication. We already talked about that. It affects us, influences us, as well as others. Non-verbal expressions. Okay, power and dominance versus powerlessness. Okay? High power postures are making yourself big, expanding, opening up. Low power postures, closing up, wrapping ourselves. We make ourselves small. Both animals and people do that. Okay, ready? Let's take a look. Let's see if it's true. Who's got the power here? He does? If anybody says he does, I haven't done my job tonight. I have to start all over again. All right, look at this one. What does it show? You see that? You see? Okay? Ready. Okay, let's take a look at it. Powerful? Is it power, low power, or high power? High power. What are these expressions of? Okay, now some people are chronically powerful. Mick Jaggers of the world, Oprah Winfrey's of the world, they have what we call a chronic power kind of a thing. But it doesn't mean us, regular people, we cannot have moments of power that we need to have in order to get things done. Everybody with me on that? We can get that and use that. Although it's not or may not be chronic, but we can implement them, incorporate them into our behavior at any given time. We can. All right? So let's look at the next one. Power or no? Huh? Come on. Look. Look how power standing right up there at the top of the table. Okay? Like an executive, like one of these. I know it's kind of forceful in a way, but the power. How about this? Remember this? You know, Wonder Woman posture? Always like this. Remember that? All right? How about this one? They did a study, this is awesome about this one. They did a study about the blind people, blind at birth, congenital blind people. They did that and the study is amazing. Even the blind people that have never seen this sort of a pride or moment of power, as soon as they have that in their life, they go like that. Isn't that amazing? They've never even seen anybody do it. It's just built within us. That when we go like that, and they V-shape like this, it's pride, it's power. Okay? So, how about these? High power, low power? How about this one? Crossed off completely. How about these guys? Okay, none of them. Alright? Now, that's not what you want to look like or how you want to look before you go into a negotiation with somebody. It's not how you want to be before you go for a job interview. If you assume these postures, you're in big trouble already. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, you want to be like that. You want to be like this feeling. You want to be like this feeling. You want to be that kind of a feel. You want to be like this gorilla right here. All right? This is the way you want to look. This is the way you want to feel. All right, look at another one. Okay? How about this one? Very low power. Very low power. Sitting here holding on to your neck like that, man, that's bad news. Okay? I guarantee you if you just drop the hand, sit up, look up. Have you guys noticed that animals look down and people look up? And we have the ability to look up. Why? Because animals, the ground is for the animals and the cosmos is for us. We belong in the stars. In fact, scientifically speaking, all of us is coming from star stuff. If it weren't for the explosion of the stars in the universe, none of us would be here. If you don't believe me, go read a whole bunch of scientific information about that. All of us are coming from the stars. So we are given the ability to look up. Every time you feel bad, notice next time, you're looking down. You want to change your feeling, look up. All of the realm of creativity, the realm of power, the realm of awareness is all up here. It's not here, I guarantee you. That's only when you want to plant seeds and you're a farmer. But other than that, you don't know. That's only when you're looking for pennies on the road or violins or whatever. Okay?
All the pennies are on the road.
That's right. Okay, but the rest of the stuff, in fact, I read a poem by Rumi in which he beautifully talks about that beware of how you look at things. If your looks are down, that's for the animals. If you're looking up, that's for people. We have the ability, you're part of that. So look up, don't look down. Immediately raises your energy. Every time you're looking down, your energy is sapped. You're going down, look up, stand up. Like this, remember that? Okay, next. All right, what is that? Low power or high power? Hold it, okay? Now, okay, so this part of it you got about verbal, non-verbal? Everybody with me on that? Okay, any questions before I move into the second part? Does it kind of relate? Questions on verbal, non-verbal? Nothing? So far so good?
Yeah.
Are you learning just a couple of things? All right, flat. All right, so art of asking questions. We're talking about establishing some sort of an ability to ask the right questions. Remember the sheet that I gave you? We're going to go over that. I'm going to ask you, first of all, who's excellent at asking why? Constantly saying why? Huh? Kids. Why is something that is just coming out of their mouth, and no matter what you say, it's always why. Okay, why are we going to the party? Because we want to have fun. Why do you want to have fun? Well, because it makes you feel good. Why do it make you feel good? Right? And us parents, like dummies, keep answering all these questions. Okay? We could say what they say. Because if they say, you ask them why, what do they say? What do they say, kids? In answer to you, because. Why are you playing the Bible? Because that. Okay? They never give you any straight answer. Because why, by its very nature, can be answered with a what? Why are you so late? Why did you do that? Because I felt like it. Okay? Anytime you say because to something, that type of question is not going to produce results. You're sitting in the cellar. Okay, want to buy child property, and I say, okay, Sam, I want to buy his property, and he says, no, Sam, I don't want to sell this. Why? What are you going to tell me? Because I don't want to sell it. Why? No, he's not the dumb parent answering every why. You're not right. You just say it's enough because I don't want it. Dumb question for us to ask. You want to sit in front of somebody? I'll teach you what to say. All right? More effective approach to ask is what questions. A what question and its variation. Who, which, when, where, and how will usually produce specific responses. I'm going to give you examples. What specifically are you confused about? What do you say that is response to? Okay, I'm saying I want to buy the property, condo, right? Right. And you say, Sam, I'm really confused right now. I'm really confused. Everybody's coming over here telling me the same thing. I am confused. What do most people say? Why? If I say why, what is he going to say? Because. What's a better question? What specifically are you confused about? Now, can you answer what specifically are you confused about with a what? With a because? Then it's going to mean that this guy is a few marbles short of or what do they say? Is one cancer, not you by the way. Go please. Look up, stand up. Take a deep breath. But you know what I'm talking about, okay? So what specifically, how about this? What specifically led you to do that instead of why? You know, somebody does something. What, why'd you do that? Because I felt like it. What specifically led you to do that? They're gonna have to give you an answer. Okay? So how about this? What specifically are you not sure about? I'm giving you a verse, I'm not sure. What specifically are you not sure about? Is that going to produce an answer?
Yes.
It will produce an answer, okay? What prevents you from doing it now? Why can't I buy your property right now? Okay? And you say, because. Well, what prevents you, here. What prevents you from doing it now? What prevents you from doing it now? Sir, what prevents you from doing it now? You don't want to, I want to buy your property. You say, no, and I said, what prevents you from doing it right now? What specifically prevents you from doing it now? What are you going to say?
I will come up with many.
Give me one answer.
Just, I need the cash flow, I think.
I need the cash flow. Who said that? Yeah, I need the cash flow. Okay, good. I need the cash flow. Okay. You need cash flow? All right. What if I could replace your cash flow with something better than what you got? Would you go for it?
I will listen.
Great. So if I could show you that, would you buy it? Would you just send me your property?
Yeah, possible.
Okay. We already overcame one step. Right? There will be just one question. Okay. And that was a great answer. I want to keep the cash flow. Okay. So, in what way the situation would be different in a month? How many times as a salesman or as somebody who wants to buy property, I can't make a decision right now, but I know in a month. What would you say? Oh, what do most people say? Okay, I'll call you in a month. Have you heard that? What a dumb thing to do. What would be, in what way would the situation be different in a month from now? Now that will have to produce a result. Well, my wife is going to be back. Okay, really, she's out of town? Yeah, she's going to be back. That is a legitimate answer. Not because, okay? So you know what to do right there. Okay, how would the situation be different then? How about this? Under what circumstances do you think you could afford it? I want to say something. I can't afford it. Oh, okay, well then whenever you can afford it, you can come back, right? Or what? Under what circumstances do you think you can afford it? What if I give you $500 right now and give you 3 payments of $1,000 later? Oh, okay, good. How could you afford it? Under what circumstances? He's giving me an answer. I'll give you $1,000 and I'll give you 3 payments of $500. I've got somewhere. I'm getting somewhere, right? Hey, King. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, good. So, also, what specifically don't you believe in? I don't believe in it. What specifically? What do you think you might be interested in? And when do you think you might be interested in? If you did, somebody says, I don't know. What do you say when somebody says, I don't know? What do most of us say? That's a tough one to handle, no? What would you say? Don't look at it. You are already. Okay, all you can say is, okay, pretend you knew. What if you did know? Okay? What do you think your answer is? What does that do to their brain? It makes them think. Exactly. It puts the machinery at work, as opposed to something they can get by or get away with very easily. Okay? So immediately, right there. Okay, what do you think might be interested? Okay, fine. Under what conditions would you might change your mind? Okay, somebody says, it's done, I am not selling my house, it's final, it's done. What do most people say? The difference between the winners and the losers is just one extra step. In the field of social science, social psychology, and the field of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, okay, this is a very powerful situation. In fact, Gestalt therapists, okay, Dr. Bandler is a master of Gestalt therapy. This guy said that human beings are like, in some ways, like machines. Each one has got a certain number of options, all right? If you can outlast your opponent with one more option, you're going to get one more. Do you see what I'm talking about? What if the person you're negotiating with can come up with 10 objections or reasons that you want, and you come up with what? 11. Who's going to win? You will win. Okay? So just like any machine, Any machine that has more options is going to prevail over the ones that has fewer options. So you say, under what conditions might you change your mind? What does that do to them? Makes them what? You said that. Makes them, yeah, makes them think. Yeah, makes them think. Okay, while we're on the subject of think, I'm going to teach you something really cool. You want to learn that? It's right here. Think. What is that acronym for? What is that think acronym for? Think. Anytime, next time you want to make a comment to somebody, think. T for true is what I'm about to say true. T for true is what I'm about to say true. If it's not true, don't say it. H, what does that stand for? Helpful. You listen to that, okay? So, helpful is what I'm about to say helpful. If it doesn't help them, why the hell are you saying it? Don't say it, okay? I, for important. Do I want to say some crap and BS all the time, or is what I'm about to say an important thing they need to know? Is it important? If it isn't, you want to say it? You don't need to say it, okay? How about N? Is it necessary? Is it necessary that I actually go out there and say this thing? Think. You know how many times people get in trouble because it's not true, because it wasn't helpful, because it wasn't important, right? Because it wasn't necessary. And what about the last one? How about K? Is it kind? Anybody can say something unkind to the other. Sometimes people need to hear unkind things. Sometimes we say it too. But we want to make sure that we eliminate or minimize any comments that is unkind. So is it kind? Is it kind? Say it. If it's not, don't say it. Okay, I'll cover that. That's one of our slides. So I'll cover it right now so you know. All right, secret of rapport. You guys ready? I've got a few minutes. You guys know what the word rapport means? What does rapport mean?
Good relationship.
Good relationship. What else? And give me one word that right there is just right on the money. Trust. Who said trust? Trust. If you want to establish, bro, could you give me some water? Thank you. If you want to be able to be successful, if you want to be successful in life, in business, or anything, right? Okay, the thing that's important is to be able to establish rapport with other people, right? Trust. All right. How do you establish trust with other people? That's what we're talking about. The magic word is pacing. You know what pacing is? Pacing is doing something similar to what the other person is doing, reflecting what he or she knows or assumes to be true, or matching some part of his or her ongoing experience. What are you talking about? If, go back here, let me give you an example right here. What happens most of the time when we encounter somebody who's coming to us with that power posture? What is the tendency on the other person's behavior or body language? Huh?
That's powerful.
Say what?
Defensive.
Defensive, less powerful. That's very true. When that person goes into that kind of mode of power, what do most people do in response? They immediately do what this guy is doing. Okay, is he pacing that woman or not? Yeah. Not pacing. Okay, and this guy loses. Why does he lose? Because he's not establishing the rapport. If somebody comes at you like that, and we're not talking about confrontation and getting into a fist fight with somebody, guys, okay, please. Right? If somebody comes at you in your own way, you don't have to, I was talking about that, you go like that. You be more discreet than that, okay? You open up, you just put one of them on. Do you understand? The last thing you want to do is this. That's not what you want to do. But if you just one arm right here, okay, one in your hand, standing tall and all of that, are you facing that woman or that person or not? Yes. Yeah. So this woman hates this guy. Hates his guts because he's a wimp. He's a sheep. He's a chicken. So there is no trust or rapport between you at all. So the tendency is, let me ask you a question. Somebody comes at you and into a very powerless position. Are you going to be like that with them? You are not. If that guy is your client, your customer, you're buying a property from him, and this guy is sitting like this, and I go like that with him, is he going to sell his freaking property to me? No, I'm going to do the same thing that he does. I'm going to sit here again, not imitating everything. If he stutters, don't do it. And then oh, Sam told me just pace and, copy. And the guy goes, and I keep him out of the house. Come on, you guys, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, be discreet, all right? So, you guys have got, you can think things out. So, if this guy is sitting slumped over like that, do I want to be in a power or do I want to pace this guy? First, you want to pace this guy. Why? Because you can play the entire range. He can't. You're aware of it. You're conscious of that. You know what you're doing. He doesn't. Everybody with me on that?
Yes.
So when I pace him like this, and then gradually after a little bit of talk, and I'm playing along with him, okay, and then all of a sudden I go like this, right? That's called leading. Okay, I'm going to lead, L-E-A-D, yeah. Okay, so this is the magic of rapport. I'll put it right here. I wish I had one of these, but you guys can write. Other person's behavior. I am not imitate, but pace. The reason I say imitate because it means that if he stutters, I stutter. If he's limping, then I start limping. You can't do that. Okay, so all we're saying is within reason, okay, and don't be so obvious. You can do variation. Okay, he's exactly like this, I'm saying exactly like that. Most people, believe it or not, won't even notice that. I've done it a million times. When they're in that mode, even if you do exactly like them, they still won't notice. It is amazing. It's totally on a subliminal basis, okay? So I start pacing him, other person, and then you pace the other person, then you lead the other person. How do I lead? I usually see different than what he does. That's bringing him out of that. Go like that. Now, what if the other person accepts my lead? He doesn't even know it. At a very subconscious level, he's immediately going to do something similar to me. You start practicing that. If you guys want your wife or husband make wildest sex to you tonight, just do the pacing and leading. Okay, and see what happens. If you or she is gonna be, and you go play along, and then you lead, look at what happens. Okay? All right. So I go with him, and then I lead. What if he doesn't accept my lead? I'll go back to pace. The whole entire human communication is based on establishing that rapport. Establishing rapport using words and language is not always effective. But when you go on the subliminal level and the body language, it communicates. Remember what I told you about nonverbal communication? What percentage? More than 55% of human communication is in your nonverbal, as in body language. The other one is tonality, and then verbal language, okay? So you do that, I'm going to bring it around. So magic of rapport, going back, all right? Pacing, you know what pacing is? You can pace a person's mood, body language. What if somebody is sitting there and you you look at it, but the body language may be a little bit different for you, difficult for you. How about the mood? How about the speech pattern? If people are speaking fast, like me, and if you want to do business with me, and you need to pace me, are you going to stay talking? Oh, son, I got a deal for you. What would you like to look at? Do you think he's really pacing me and communicating with me? He is the one. I'm talking to you guys. You're in charge right now. If you want to be on the other side and say, no, let the guy do to me, okay, maybe fine. But if you need something from the other guy, right, you're going to have to do the pacing. So if the rate of speech is fast, you do that. Tonality. Have you noticed some people are monotone and people up and down? You try to do that. I know some of you guys said it might be difficult. It needs practice. Practice it until you become it. I talk about that later. I hate the idea of faking till making. It's like phony. Fake it till you make it. Have you heard that? I'd love to change that to practice until you become. Anything you want that you practice, and long enough you become it. And life for human beings is not the process of being only, it's the process of becoming. I don't really care who you are as long as you're becoming the person that you can be and maximize your potentiality. That's what's important. I don't care in what family you were born into. No money, bad culture, negative, this, that, all of that. What you become at the end is what's important. The legacy that you leave after you leave this planet, who the person you become and you became, is what counts, okay? So that becoming, practice everything until you become it, all right? So rate of speech, How about the person's beliefs and opinions? Beliefs and opinions, heavy duty. But do you want to be out of integrity with somebody? Somebody said to you, that they're saying like they love a person or a situation that you really hate. Are you going to just sacrifice your integrity and face that? No, because I give you a reason why you don't have to do that. There's always enough things about people that you can find that you're aligned with to face, that you don't have to sell your integrity to, I really like, I'm not political, I'm not anything else, so I want to pick something. I really like Einstein, right? And I hate Einstein, for whatever reason, right? Because maybe he was the cause of putting E equals mc squared, and he said, it's the beginning of the atomic bomb, for whatever reason, right? Do I have to say, yeah, Einstein, I love the guy, awesome. You don't have to say that. Because if you talk with that guy long enough, you're going to find other stuff that you can face about him. Because there's no way in the world that you can find somebody else out there whose all his ideas you hate. That all that he knows and belief systems you don't have. You always, would you say that you know somebody like that?
Ex-wife.
That's why she became ex-wife, right? Where is your ex-wife right now, Sam?
Somewhere in this big city.
Have you ever spoken with her?
Yeah, we have a kid.
Okay, so next time I really want you to do that. That's your assignment. And if you do that, I'll have a really, really nice present for you. Okay, seriously. I want you to take her out for lunch or something. Okay, just the two of you, and just practice pacing.
That's a
pacing. Even if she doesn't go like that, you still gonna go like that?
No, I take that to you as a non-verbal communication.
Oh, that is, you don't want to do that?
No.
Okay, got it. But that's okay.
Don't ask me why.
What specifically, makes you say something like that? I mean, what? No, just kidding. So anyway, but besides ex-wives and ex-husbands, to be fair, right? Besides that, all right, so pattern of speech, you can always find something about other people. So even, for example, you want to get their attention. So magic of rapport may not be fair, but let me ask you a question. Is it true that people like people who like them?
Yeah.
Yes or no? I know it's not fair. I mean, if you go and see somebody who dresses differently, all of his belief systems different than you, different language, different culture, different everything, do you feel any commonality with them? Do you feel like how can you claim? So people that, if I'm like you, you like me, and if you like me, I'm 10 point good with you. Okay? When you place another person, you're in effect saying, I'm like you. Okay? People follow your lead. If they follow your lead, they're in tune with you. So you pace, okay? You pace, right? As soon as your pacing is done, you lead, you create something new in behavior. If they followed you, they're with you. Now you ask, by the way, about your house, do you think that we can wrap this up maybe with this weekend? I've got all cash. I can write an offer for you, all cash. Really all cash? Yeah, all cash. Close in 7 days. Really, if I could offer that to you, do we have a contract? Can we sign a contract? Perfect. It's a perfect time to say it. Right after you pace, they follow your lead, and then boom, through you just ask non-threatening, in a very non-threatening way, open up, big smile on your face, ask a question. That may actually work for you, okay? So, next, magic of rapport. You want to change someone else's behavior? Best approach, change your own. How many times we hear in relationships with our kids, wives, husbands, and all that, only if you can change, we can live together, right? Okay, let me ask you a question. Are you telling me that for you to gain your sanity, I need to send your wife to a psychotherapist? And if she gets better, you get better? Is that what you're telling me? That's exactly what that is. When people say, until you change, okay, we're not going to be able to live together, it means that if I send you, if you get therapy and you feel better, suddenly I feel better. That is such a hogwash, it's a bunch of crap. In order for you or any situation to change in your life, who has to change first? When you change, somehow situation changes and the other person changes. Okay? So start with you. Okay, this is the art of influence. Validating something about others, consider, find it, okay? Thomas Jefferson said, in matters of opinion, in matters of, stand firm like a rock in matters of principle, and flow like a river in matters of opinion. Don't fight over opinion with other people. What do they say? Opinions are so cheap. Like they're like whatever, you know, everybody's got them. I always say that. You want to say that? You're good at these things. You're the nasty, dirty things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
asking the guy with no filters, I'm having no credibility.
No, no, but you're good, you're good. So anyway, so opinions. Don't get stuck on opinion, but if it's a matter of principle, if you don't like somebody and they're doing something in this belief system, don't sell your integrity. Is what I'm saying. You immediately lower your energy when you sell integrity. Every time you compromise with your reality, every time you compromise with your own integrity, immediately your energy goes out. Immediately you sap your energy. Even if you don't know it at the conscious level, at the subconscious level it's happening to you. And your body language will change. Okay, you don't want to do that. So next, when not to pace. Don't pace the stuttering, limping, asthmatic breathing. Some of your clients are doing that and you want to buy the property. So they hold on, my going, I gotta pace, sunset pace. What's gonna happen? You're gonna get kicked out, right? Matters of beliefs, values, don't agree with anything, violates your cherished principle. Okay, not necessary. Like we said, always something out there. We talked about this, right?
Yeah.
Behavior, other person, lead, get the job done. Okay? Finally, read this. Whatever it is you wish to be, do have, it's all yours if you become no limit. Tom, did you and I have a field trip together on Saturday? How was it? How easy was it for us to get places and do things?
I mean, you got the hoods, but I mean, you just go out there and do it, and if you do it with enough confidence, it
We
happens.
came to my office and said, let's go out and have fun. So we went to various places. All these places are charging all kinds of money to walking, sitting, learning, eating, drinking coffee, mingling with people. Nobody said anything to us. Why? Because we didn't walk in like this. How did we walk in?
Oh, we stood up like we belong.
You act like you belong. If you, as long as you are this or that, then you cannot be all things. And when you're not all things, then you get noticed and people know that you don't belong. But when you do away with I'm this, I'm that, then you become all, you become omnipresent. Okay? Omnipresent means you're anywhere and it belongs to you and you belong to it. So people don't get kicked out. You don't get kicked out, you can go into any venue, you can go anywhere. As long as you realize there are no limits about you. Okay? Don't fake it till you make it. Practice it till you become it. Try power posing before negotiation. Cold calling or anything. You're calling other people, you're doing stuff on the internet, on the phone. Before you do it, do your power pose. Okay, I meditate too. And meditation is a form of power posing. Because first rule of meditation is what? Your back is going to be what? Completely straight ahead. Right there. Already in the power pose. Okay? That Buddha always did that. On each leg. Okay? So that power. Do your power pose. You want to go for that is a litigation or trial attorney, as you said, okay? I'm sure you already somehow do that, but you know, even when you don't feel good in that moment, you know, get your energy, get in that powerful position or posture. All right. One thing else, if you're having problem in life, maybe you don't need to change or make wholesale changes, because a lot of time, tiny tweaks can lead to big changes. A lot of times that I had difficulty in my life and went ahead and changed wholesale stuff and a bunch of stuff, I realized at the end I didn't have to do any of that. Just small tweaks. Sometimes you change just one little thing and suddenly you produce massive results. So find out what those little tweaks are that you can make into your life, incorporate into your life to make those big changes. Okay? And let's see, and by pacing and leading, by the way you make your presentation, irresistible. All right? So we already talked about the thing. Remember the thing? Yes. True, helpful, important, necessary, kind, right? The end. All right, so this is the end. Any of you guys, I know a lot of you guys are part of my, how many of you guys are in my VIP mentoring program right now?
What?
VIP mentoring program? There are a whole bunch of you guys are. And Norma too in the back, and also Darius right there, and Dave. Why do people come and want to learn into in my VIP membership and mentorship program? And I know Andrew, you're going to join us soon. Why? Because they get all the good stuff that I talk about, and I also teach you about real estate. I teach you how to become an investor. I give you MLS 24/7. You have access to the MLS, the program. And you also get a deal analysis, 2.5 hours. You guys have this? All of my services are here. I don't believe in force, I believe in power. So I'm not going to do any slippery slide like all the other salespeople we go to. We're about education. I encourage you to read this, see what it says, and if you become an investor, if you want to become a successful investor, get in. Because my doors are always open. I'm on the phone. Anybody who sends me anything, they get a response. I get these from my students. Now the network is big. You're getting a whole bunch of, I think you just joined. Congratulations. You just saw your application. So you go out there and these deals come in. Deals come in, I verify. If they're good, you put them on the contract. Where's Fred? Fred, one of my students, right there. Fred, how much? I know you have money in the bank, but you don't have a whole recovery. No, I mean that. Okay, I gave you a letter, proof of funds. You tied up a property, there's my letter, proof of funds. You tied up the property for all cash transaction, right? Is a wholesale deal?
Yes,
Okay, and did you put the flags up there?
yes, flash.
Okay, guys, he's very capable, he's very good. I don't want, and I don't mean it in any kind of a negative way, but if he can do it, you guys can do it. Because he's on that wheelchair all the time. He's pacing and pounding the pavements. One time I'm going uphill in Silver Lake to look at a property, and I see a guy on a wheelchair going up the hill right in the middle of the road. So of course this guy, right in the middle of the road. So anyways, I swerved by him and I went up there, and sure enough, he joined me to see the property. He goes anywhere. This is commitment. This is commitment. Okay? So if you want to commit yourself to it, to the degree you want to commit it, I help you guys. You're doing well, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah? You're doing okay. Yeah. A lot of properties, your portfolio is growing. So anyways, so if you guys think about any questions, I appreciate it. One thing I really would love for you guys to do, if you don't mind at all, if you like what this club and what I am, the education is about, go on the internet, Google Plus is it?
Yep.
Leave a nice, good review. I don't want to tell you what to say. Leave one up there, and you get one at free admission to the club. Okay? That's it. And if you don't want to do it, it's okay too. But it would be nice. The more good reviews we have, somehow I guess we pull in more traffic. Is that true?
Yeah, better rank.
So that's it. I'm done, guys. Any questions? Because I want to get him over here and giving him. Still have plenty of time. You have 45 minutes. Okay. So guys, are you good? Ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. By the way, make sure you read the green flyer. We got apartment buildings doing a syndication. A special needs from my club members. Take a look at that as well. And let's see, where's my letter? Oh, here it is. Okay, guys, are you ready for our self-directed info? Yes. Okay. Talking about education. Yes. Yes, sir.
What Sam is doing is helping all of us out for our economy.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good way of saying that. Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, so take a look at the flyers. Also, we got I believe we got a flyer about an opportunity in Las Vegas. For those of you guys who like out-of-state properties, this is a really awesome opportunity. The flyer is right there on the networking table. It's from the Cambridge companies. This is good. We got some money in these transactions and in these properties. Oh, one of the freebies for you guys. You guys know County Records Research? They provide awesome foreclosure information. The owner of this company is going to be at the club in September. He's going to teach you how to buy notes, real estate notes. The guy's a master of it. You guys know him, Kurt Demir? Unbelievable. He's a genius. Okay, so he's going to be here. Why is this good? He's going to give you 30 days free access to the website, and you can pull NOD, notice of default, notice of trustee, all of that, and try it. If you like it, you can continue. If not, after 30 days, cancel it. But you would know whether or not this kind of a lead generation is going to be good for you. If you use this code right here, it says Sam's RE Club 30. Instead of a week free, you get 30 days free. Okay? That's the code. All right, ready? Let's get our guy over here. The next topic, self-directed retirement accounts for investing. I believe it's important. Do you guys think it's important?
Yes.
Very. Our speaker is Dmitry Fomichenko. I know some of you guys might say, well, it was somebody else, was it? Yeah. As of 2 days ago, it was somebody else. But I didn't feel that it might happen because she sort of maybe wasn't sure that she was going to be able to make it. I have a great network. So I said, wait a minute, I can ask Dimitri to talk on me. He's a master of this, he's good. So I called him and he's kind enough to show up. And boy, am I happy that I did that. Because he's going to talk to you about the ultimate retirement plan. It's also known as solo 401k. He will show you how to shelter over $100,000 from taxes as husband and wife, eliminate custodian fees forever. Okay? And also he's going to teach you create your own bank that will never turn you down. In addition to that, you know about the rest of the stuff. You guys have heard about the checkbook IRA? You can literally write the checks for real estate investment. You don't have to go back and forth and have the money transfer and all that thing. It doesn't have to be. So, Dimitri, founder and president of the Sense Financial Services. I've known him for over a year and a half. He's been coming and going to the club. I like him. I've done some business with him. He's got a boutique financial firm specializing in helping their client obtain checkbook control over their retirement accounts. He began his career in financial planning in 2000, right? Okay? And he owns multiple investment properties as well. That's what I like about this guy. And various states, also a licensed California real estate broker with the BRE. By the way, it's not DRE anymore, right? You guys know that it changed to BRE?
Yes.
So don't say DRE again, okay? It's BRE. I would like for you to pay special attention to what he has to say because he's practicing what he's preaching. And he uses his own retirement account to provide money lending, investing in real estate, and trusting. Okay, so please help me welcome Dimitri. Come on, Dimitri. You better figure out what the night are you, right?
All right. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, got my commit here.
You ready?
Yes? Okay, that's mine.
So that's
That's yours.
Did you
That's
check the
yours.
places?
Yes, I did. Because I can't drink from your glass.
First you gotta taste and then. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Sam, for having me here. And just tell you a little bit more about my background before I jump into the presentation. As you can hear from my accent, I'm actually not from here originally. I'm originally from, you guys know this place called Rancho Santa Margarita? No, Rancho Santa Margarita. No, I'm just kidding. I actually immigrated in this country back in 1996. I didn't speak any language, any English language at that time. I didn't have any money. I never would imagine that I'm going to be speaking and teaching classes on real estate investing and financial planning. But and my background is actually in engineering, so we are kind of have a similar background with Sam. But I was introduced to real estate investing back in 1999. I came into a similar presentation like you guys are in, except it was maybe 3 times bigger, full of people, and it was a life-changing evening for me that night. I learned about investing in real estate. It actually took me 2 years from that day till the day that I was able to purchase my first property. But, and shortly thereafter, I purchased my second. So, and that was year 2001. And those 2 properties, they actually served me as a springboard in my real estate investment career. Because I was able to leverage on those investments, and that was a good time to invest. Properties were going up, and then I started investing and buying properties out of state as well. And in 2004, I started working with a real estate investment firm and basically kind of coaching and helping people buy their first investment property or when you buy more investment properties. And over the years, I basically seen similar feedback that my clients were providing to me is that their real estate portfolios were doing well, they were growing, but their retirement accounts were not doing well. And I actually speak with people daily about their retirement accounts. Now, by the way, just by a quick show of hands, how many of you have some sort of retirement account? Okay, so most of you are, about 90% in the room. Now, how many of you who raised the hand that you have a retirement account, how many of you honestly can say that, yes, I'm excited about performance of my retirement account over the last 10 years?
Oh, God, over the last year.
So one person, what about everybody else? And you guys are not exception because I ask this question often and I get the same response. If you have a conventional retirement account, an IRA or 401k, and your retirement account is locked into the conventional investments such as stock market and mutual funds, you and I, we have no control over that. And we have no control over the performance of those types of investments. We can just do some guesswork, possibly. And when I talk to people, looking again over the last 10 years of performance, typically for most people, the retirement accounts either stayed flat or maybe gained a little bit or maybe even lost money. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. And so when I was talking to my real estate investors, I knew it was possible to use a retirement account to invest in real estate. So I basically started gathering all the information and meeting with the experts, and I put together a program just to help few of my clients. And then shortly I had referrals coming in and just started doing that on a bigger scale. And that's basically how Sense Financial was born. And that's how I do now. I help people unlock their retirement accounts and give them the control so that they can invest in investments that they can control better and then have better understanding. Now, just a quick disclaimer, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a CPA, I don't provide legal advice. I'm an investor like many of you guys. I invest using my own savings, I invest in my retirement account. And so I'm just going to, I'm expert in retirement accounts, so that, you can ask me any questions about that. But if you need legal or tax advice, talk to experts in those areas. Now, this is my family. I'm actually one of 9 boys. Everybody say usually at this time, oh, you're poor mom. Well, maybe my mom really wanted to have a girl. And it didn't happen, but now she has 8 daughters. Because 8 of us are married, and she has 8 daughters and a bunch of granddaughters. But this is that's about the only time when we always get together is at weddings, because now everybody married and some of my brothers moved in other states, so it's kind of difficult for us, all of us to get together. And this is really the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is my beautiful wife and our soon 8-year-old daughter. And this is why I work, this is why I have a retirement account, this is why I'm building my retirement account, because I want to be able to spend more time with them. I want to be able to spend more time and go places and see places. And the reason I'm showing this to you, because each and every one of you should have a similar reason. And you should have that in front of you. Because that will help you, that will keep you motivated to do the things that you need to do, such as investing for retirement and building that nest egg. So one day, you're going to have option of not going to work. You know, my plan is about 5 years. I don't have to work in 5 years. Not that I'm going to stop working and doing that, that's not me. But I want to have the option of going and taking a year off and going on vacation with my family, going and seeing some places. So you want to have that to help you stay focused, do the things that you wanted to do. So what we do is we help our clients protect what they have, the retirement accounts and obtain control over those retirement accounts. Because, like I mentioned, if you're like most people out there who have conventional IRAs and 401ks, you have very little control over the performance of those investments that you invest in. So you've got two options, and I'm going to talk about both of them tonight. The self-directed IRA and also self-directed solo 401k that offers you the checkbook control and also known as ultimate retirement account. So what is a self-directed IRA? Basically, it is a tax-deferred trust account that's been put in place by the U.S. government to help people like you and I save money from the retirement. The funds of your retirement account are held with the custodian, so it's a third-party custodian. I call them a middleman, that you actually that hold up your funds, and you direct them how the funds can be invested. The biggest difference with conventional account is that you have the investment options, all right? So it allows you to invest in non-traditional assets. The majority of people out there, when I talk to them and present this option, they just not even aware that it exists. And the reason that people don't know about this is because you're not going to hear this advertised on TV or from your financial advisor or stockbroker. The reason is because the major financial institutions, they want to keep you invested where you're at, because that's how they make money. If you have a financial advisor, okay, I call financial advisor quoted in court. If it's not a fee-based advisor, you need to think about whether you want to retain their services. Because think about this: if you have your money invested in a mutual fund somewhere, and your account makes money, they make percentage of that. Now, when your account loses money, what happens to the commission of that advisor, so-called? They still make a percentage off of your money. They usually make a percentage based on the amount of assets under management. Now, does that make sense? If you're losing money, the person who's managing the money for you continue to make money?
Yes.
Yes?
No, I know that.
Doesn't make any sense. So, there's a fee-based advisors that will manage the portfolio for you without actually being compensated based on the performance. That they just will make straight recommendations. But so they're not going to advise or give you advice. Hey, go set up a self-directed IRA, because they want to keep you invested. Some of them even not aware that it exists as well. So a couple of reasons. One is intentionally they're going to steer you away from that, or two, they might not be even aware of that themselves. But they've been around for quite some time, since 1974, and they designed to benefit people like you and I with money away from the retirement. So the major difference between a conventional retirement account that most of you guys have is that it is controlled by the custodian. So your investment choices are very limited. You can invest in what? Stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. That's pretty much it. Those are your choices. Now, here is an example. When I had a 401k at my job years ago, a representative from the 401k company will come up and meet with all the employees about once or twice a year and show us a similar spreadsheet like this. Those were our investment options within that 401k. So about a dozen choices of the funds to put our money in. That's it. No other choices. You didn't have any freedom to pick certain investments. Now, if you have an IRA, you have a little bit more choices there, because typically you have access to more mutual funds. But again, your access to investments are limited because it's just within the same asset class. You can only invest in equities. And some people tell me, You guys, all of you understand what mutual fund is? So if there's someone who doesn't, basically it's a fund, collection of people, you know, all of us, a bunch of people in the room put $1,000 into this pile of money, and there's a manager who actually takes this money and invests in different companies. So you actually, one fund can invest in 100 different companies. So people come to, well, I invest in this mutual fund, and my investment, my $100, gets to be broken down into 100 different pieces. So I actually invest in 100 different companies, so I'm diversified. Well, that might be true, but it's only to a certain degree. You are diversified within one asset class, within equities, but it's still equity, it's still paper. And you have no control over that. The companies that they invest in, you don't have control how the board of directors or management of that company, how they invest money, what they do, what their plans. You have no control over that. And many people lost half of their portfolio several years ago. Now, when you use and switch to a self-directed IRA or 401k, and again, the solution is not that you cannot invest in something like if you guys went to your custodian, you know, whether it's a Chase or Fidelity, and you came to them and said, well, I'd like to invest in a trust deed or invest in a rental property, what will they tell you? They can't do that. And the problem is not that you cannot do it, you cannot do it with them. IRS does not prohibit you from doing that, you just cannot. The custodian places that limitation. It's their role. So the solution is to move away from that. So the self-directed retirement accounts allow you to invest in various types of investment opportunities. It can be real estate, commercial, residential, can be locally, can be anywhere in the US, can be in other countries. I have clients who invest in South America, I have clients who invest in India, buying real estate, in Canada. You can actually invest in tax liens and tax deeds. You can invest in mortgage loans. You can actually your retirement account can be the bank. You can use it as a bank and you can lend money to others. And this is not the full list of potential options that are available for you. List like that actually does not exist. There is no list of investments that you can invest with your retirement account. Rather than giving you a list of things that you can invest in, IRS gives you a list of things that you cannot do. So there is a certain things that IRS call the prohibited transactions. And those are the things you cannot do inside of your retirement account, and I will cover those. And if the investment that you look in to invest with your retirement account is not on that list, that means you can do it. So that makes the investment potential for your retirement account virtually limitless. You have limitless options. Now, here's an example, I guess a case study you can call that. Jason is actually one of our clients. He contacted us a couple of years ago. He found us online. We have, more than 70% of our clients that are just from all over the US. He found us online just like most of our clients, and he called us up. I spoke with him. He had a couple of different accounts totaling about $125,000. He actually lost money over the last few years. His account shrunk. And he was desperate. He was kind of afraid. He was concerned about losing even more money. So he just liquidated all of his investments and he kept everything in cash. And as you know, if you just keep your money in cash, you're actually losing money because inflation eats that. You need to make at least 4 or 5% just to kind of keep up with the inflation. But he got sick of that and he was researching the options. So he contacted us. We set up a self-directed solo 401k for him, and here's what he did. So here's his situation after he became our client. He actually took some of his money and he purchased a property inside of his 401k. So guess what? His 401k owns this house. And all of the rental income from that rental property goes back into his 401k. Now, he also took some of the money and he put that into his brother's manufacturing business. His brother started several businesses successfully, so he kind of knew his track record and he was looking for some capital. So he did that, and then the rest of the money he actually lent it out. So he invested in loans. So now his 401k is the bank, and he receives payments from that regular mortgage. He's getting about $1,200 a month in cash flow right now versus what he had before, which was zero, and he had no control over where his money was invested. Do you think he's in a little bit better situation now? Do you think he's better diversified? Do you think you can control more the property that you invest in rather than some stocks or mutual funds? You have a lot more control over real property because you can control where you're going to buy that property. You control what kind of improvements you can do on that property. You control what kind of tenant is going to be living there. So you have a lot more control. And again, this is just one of the investments, one of the plans, just some of the potential investment opportunities that you can do with your 401k. So let's talk about solo 401k right now. So what is solo 401k? Most people, again, not even aware that it exists, but it's actually a qualified retirement plan, and it's defined as retirement savings trust under section 401 and subsection pay. So that's where the name comes. And the solo means that it's designed for single individual or single business owner. So it's designed for those people who are self-employed or small business owners where it's just a person, a participant and his spouse. Spouse can also participate. So it's not a new type of plan, it's just a traditional 401k that many of you probably have or had sometime in the past, but it's designed just to cover one participant and his spouse. The increased interest in these plans was as a result of some changes in the IRS tax law that happened in the beginning of 2000 that made all of the benefits that I'm about to share with you available. So that increased, the result of that was increased interest in these types of plans. Now, the eligibility to participate in this plan, while self-directed IRA, anyone can set that up. Anyone can set up a self-directed IRA. If you have another retirement account or if you have earned income, you can set up an IRA. A 401k qualifications are a little bit more strict, but still, many of you can probably participate in that. So number one, you have to have a presence of self-employment activity. It can be in any type, shape, or form. Okay? And here's just some of the examples. If you're a doctor and you have your own small practice, an attorney, property manager, even if you manage your own properties, that can be your legal business. Even if you have a full-time job elsewhere and just have a little side business, you can participate in a solo 401k. There's a lot of network marketing businesses out there. That's your side business. Many people do that on the side. You can be some kind of IT consultant, any type of business, or if you receive income that reported to you on a 1099, or you file Schedule C, will qualify you for a solo 401k. So the options can be pretty much anything. So that's number one. Number two is the absence of full-time employees. As I mentioned, this plan is designed for small business owners, like most of you, real estate investors. Your spouse can participate, you're just not allowed to have full-time employees. Now, in the eyes of IRS, full-time means somebody who's working 1,000 hours. So if somebody works 1,000 hours, they consider it full-time. That's about, for the comparison, it's about 20 hours a week. So you can actually hire a part-time secretary working 15 hours a week, and you'll be fine. You don't have to include that person into the plan. All right, so the benefits of the solo franking, that's why, every time I talk about this, I get excited, because every time I see that, it just excites me, those benefits, because they're just so awesome. Number one, high contribution limits. Now, you guys know, most of you know what the IRA is, right? An individual retirement account. What is the contribution limit for an IRA right now? $5,000. 6,000 if you're over 60. Actually, it's 5,500 this year. So $5,500. And then if you're over 50, they give you a catch-up. What's called a catch-up, so you can actually put a little bit more money, $1,000. Now, guess what? With solo 401k, your contribution limit is significantly higher. It's actually up to $57,000. $57,000 per individual, per participant. It actually consists of two parts. As a self-employed individual, you wear two hats. You're the business owner, and then you take that hat off, you put another hat, and then you become the employee of the business because you go and do the work. So if you're an attorney, you own the business, but then you're actually an employee because you provide consulting services to your clients. So as an employee, you can contribute up to $17,500 per year into your plan. That's called a salary deferral. And if you're over 50, you've got additional $5,500 in catch-up contributions. That makes it for a total of $23,000. It's already way surpasses the IRA limits. The contributions, these contributions can be up to 100% of your self-employed earnings. So here's an example. If you have a full-time job, and that's how you make a living, but you also have a side business, and you make a little bit of money there, up to 100% of that self-employed income can go into solo 401k. So let's say you have a notary business, and you make $50,000 in a year. All $50,000 can go into solo 401k because it's up to 100%. And that can also go into a Roth account. So it can go either into pre-tax or into after-tax. I will talk about Roth more specifically a little bit later. The second part called the profit share, employer profit share, and that is when you, again, put the business owner hat on, and then as a business you can put in contributions to the participant plan account up to 25% of your net earnings for the maximum total of $57,500. And that is huge. Not only it is a self-directed account that allows you to pick and choose your investments, but also it allows you to, it's a great tax shelter vehicle. Here's an example. I'm going to give you a hypothetical example where it's very close to actually one of our clients. Let's use an example of husband and wife. They work as a team. Husband is a realtor, wife is a transaction coordinator, and they both work in the business, just two of them. They make $250,000 combined a year. Now, if they had no deduction, how much taxes they will pay? What will be the tax bracket? I'm not an accountant again, but they'll probably be somewhere close to 40% tax bracket. And they'll probably be paying close to $100,000 in taxes in that situation. Now, if they set up a solo 401k plan and both of them contributed the max, they could potentially contribute about $100,000 combined, about $50,000 each. So that drops their taxable income from $250,000 to about $150,000. Now, what does it do with their tax bracket? It immediately drops their tax bracket. They're going to be in a lower tax bracket. And now instead of paying taxes on $250,000, they're going to be paying lower percentage on $150,000. So they're probably going to be saving over $50,000 in taxes just by using this strategy. So it's a great tax tax sheltered vehicle, on top of all of the other benefits. Next, solo 401k loan feature. Now, those of you who have IRAs, individual retirement accounts, and you've got some urgent need for cash, can you access money in your retirement account before you retire?
Yeah, but.
Yes, no, I can hear both.
Yes, but they charge a lot.
Yes, but penalty. So that's it's your money. You can take it any time. It's your money. You can take it any time at any age. But if you take it before you reach 59 and a half, you're going to be paying penalty, state plus federal penalty, and you're going to be paying state plus federal taxes. So combined, it can be near to 50%. Now, with solo 401k, you can actually borrow from your account. It has a participant loan feature that allows you to take a loan from your retirement account up to $50,000 or 50% of the value, whichever is less. Can be used for any reason. It's a 5-year loan, amortized over 5 years. The interest rate is prime plus 1, so 4.25. And what that does and what Sam mentioned is that you're actually creating your own bank. You are in control of that bank, and no one will ever have to approve you. You can take that loan at any time. And not that you should, use that feature, but if you ever need that, it is available for you. It's available for you to access. Here's an example. One of my clients also. She, this lady, she had some high interest medical debt. And it was just, she wasn't able to just catch up. She was just paying the interest, wasn't able to pay down the principal because the interest was close to 20%. And she was considering cashing out her 401k. She needed $10,000. So she met with her tax person and he did some calculations. He said, you need to actually take $20,000 because about $10,000 you're going to pay taxes and penalties. So you'll end up with $10,000, then you can settle that debt, right? Well, she got to talk to me, and I explained to her that she can actually start up a solo 401k and then take the loan out. That's what we exactly did. She transferred the 401k into a solo 401k, took $10,000 out as a loan, paid out of medical debt, and now she's paying back to her own retirement account instead of somebody else. The interest going back into your own retirement account. So your retirement account is actually growing. And she only used $10,000 instead of $20,000. And the rest of the money is available for her to invest. Very powerful feature. And it's not available with the self-directed IRA. Roth contributions. Now, the Roth contribution limits are the same as for traditional IRAs. It's $5,500 or $65,000 if you're over 50. With solo 401k, you have the ability to use your salary deferral contributions to put that into after tax, into a Roth bucket. The 401k comes with the pre-tax bucket as well as after-tax Roth bucket. So potentially you can put up to $23,000 into a Roth. Now, with Roth IRA, if you make over a certain income, you're not eligible to make contributions to Roth IRA. It's not applicable here. Regardless of your income, you can still make contributions. And if you do that, if you invest in a Roth, then all the income and gains will be tax-free for the rest of your life. Now, Roth feature may not be the best for everyone because everyone's situation is different. Everyone's age is different. But it's a powerful vehicle. I mean, think about this. Would you rather pay taxes on the seed that you planted, or would you rather pay it on the harvest? And the more time you have, the higher the impact is going to be. And I'm just going to give you an example. My own example. Here's what I did. I was maximizing my 401k over the last few years, and I got about $50,000, and I went out and I purchased property in Phoenix, last year. So I actually, spent about $40,000 because I financed it, okay? And in my conservative estimate, I can grow about $50,000 over the next 20 years, because I got at least 20 years before I can use the funds. Over the next 20 years, I can grow it to about $500,000. So would you pay taxes on $50,000 now or $500,000 later? Okay. But this is just, one level. I'm going to take it a little bit further with Roth, because let's say when I'm turning 60 in 20 years, I'm 40. So when I turn 60 in 20 years, I'm not just going to cash out $500,000 and just, spend that. I'm going to keep it inside of my Roth 401k, and I'm going to buy income-producing asset. Let's say I'm going to buy forklifts that's going to generate for me maybe $5,000 a month. And I'm just going to be taking $5,000 a month as a distribution, tax-free, forever, without touching the principal. So the impact is actually much higher with Roth. Again, may not be the right for everyone, but you have that feature available for you. Every 401k plan that we set up has a Roth provision, so you may opt to use that. Next is because it's very cost effective and offers you checkbook control. Yes?
Good question. Is the limit for Roth different than small Roth? I didn't understand that.
The limit is, let me go back to that, to this slide. So the combined limit for a solo 401k is $57,500. It consists of two components: the salary deferral, first component, and the profit share. So the first component, 17.5 or 23,000 if you're over 50, can go into a pre-tax or into a Roth. So you can choose either or you can split it however you wish. The limit is still the same, but you can choose whether it goes into pre-tax or after-tax account. Now, because the IRAs, remember we talked about IRA is a health data custodian. So there is a third-party custodian that holds on to the funds. And you tell them, okay, I want to buy this property. You need to submit, paperwork, and they will receive them. They'll process them. Then you'll be able to buy the property in your retirement account or lend money. So far, it's set up in a different set of IRS rules, and it does not require a custodian. It's set up as a trust, with you being a trustee of that trust. So you're designated trustee. As a trustee, you have 100% control over the assets of the trust. So there is no middleman. There is no one in between you and your retirement client. Now, we do help you and we maintain your plan in compliance with the IRS. That's our role. When we set out the plan, we just make sure we make the updates to the plan. We do the restatements required with the IRS. But your funds, the assets of the retirement account is 100% under your control. So by setting this up, you will eliminate custodian fees forever. So there's no more custodian fees to pay with an IRA. Because with an IRA, every time you do a transaction, you're going to pay the fee to the custodian for doing that. You also eliminate all the red tapes that comes with the custodian. So when you have a custodial account, you have to go and jump through the hoops. And I had one of my clients recently. I've been talking with this lady for about 2 years. About 2 years we've been talking about doing solo 401k. She actually had a self-directed IRA with the custodian, and then she finally called me and said, okay, I'm ready. And the reason was because she was lending money to flippers, people who were actually flipping properties. They find a deal, and they usually the deal is, it needs a lot of work, and it will not qualify for conventional financing. So they need private money. They need a private individual to come in and fund the deal. So you will be the lender. And she was doing that for quite some time. And then she was just started experiencing the custodian that she was working with, they were very difficult to deal with. And when she was working with a new client, and they found out which custodian they were, I'm not going to mention any names, but when they found out which custodian they were, they said, no, we don't want to do that because they had bad experience with the custodian. Here, you can do it just by writing a check. You analyze the deal, if it's good to go, if it passes your due diligence, then you just write the check and you make the investment. As simple as that. So you're in control and you can act immediately. Now, if you guys, let's say one of you has a self-directed IRA with money in there, and there is a deal. There is a deal tonight. Somebody here has a deal, and you two talk and you like the deal. You want to act on that. Well, you can't do anything tonight. You have to tomorrow. You have to submit the paperwork, send it off to the custodian. Wait a couple of days until they review that and approve that, and then they'll wire the money or send the check. Well, guess what? If it's a great deal, it's going to be gone by then, right? If you have a sole 401k with checkbook control, if you have a checkbook with you can write the check and you can seal the deal right now in a matter of minutes. So it's that powerful.
Question for you, can you convert a defined benefit plan for a high individual income earner that was set up as a 3-tier, and you convert it to the S-class, which is in the form, this is a constant.
Well, it depends on the plan that you have. So most of the retirement, I'll cover that in just a couple more slides, what type of accounts you can convert.
So when do you need to have a custodian? Why do you need to have it since you've got the flexibility?
You don't have to have a custodian. There is no need for a custodian with a sole 401k. With an IRA, there is no way around it. You have to have a custodian because it's required by the IRS. With sole 401k, there is no custodian. So it just eliminated. It's out of the picture. There is no custodian with 401k. They're quite simple to operate. The only requirement that you have to do is Form 5500 EZ. And this is a two-page information return that's required to be filed with the IRS for your plan if your plan assets exceeds $250,000. So if it's under 250, you don't have to do any filing. If it's over 250, a short 2-page form needs to file. And what you need to list there is you need to list the value of your plan as of December, as of last day of December of the previous year, and the amount of any contributions that you made in the past year. It's quite simple, and we do help you with that. Now, it's exempt from UDFI, which stands for Unrelated Debt Finance Income Tax. If you have an IRA and you buy rental property, just like I did with my 401k, I put 40% down and I finance 60%. Do you know you can finance property inside of your 401k? Yes, you can do that. If you do that with an IRA, the income that comes from the finance portion of the property now considered unrelated business income. And the IRS will tax you on that portion of the income about 45% as the UBIT tax. Unrelated business taxable income of about 45%. So that's pretty significant, even though it's a retirement account, but now the retirement account is engaged in not just an investment activity, but it's also invested in financing. That's considered unrelated business activity. That's why you're being taxed. However, if you do that inside of your 401k, it will be exempt from taxes because it's exempt from this provision. So there's no UDFI tax on leveraged real estate. Another reason to use that in my real estate with financing. So these are the types of accounts that can be converted into a sole 401k. Pretty much any type of retirement accounts that you have can be converted. A traditional IRA, SEP IRA, a simple 401k, 457, 403b, All of this group is considered employer-sponsored plan. So if you have a retirement account with the employer and you currently working there, they're probably not going to allow you to move that if you're still not in the retirement age. Also, there are some exceptions, and the exception called in-service distribution. So under certain circumstances, you might be allowed to move those funds, but usually not. Profit sharing, KIAs. The Roth IRA is the only exception, so that's what you need to remember. If you have a Roth IRA, IRS does not allow you to move your Roth IRA to sole 401k. So that's the only exception. Sole 401k can accept funds from any type of retirement account except Roth. So again, to answer your question, you have to look at your plan if they do allow to transfer the funds out. So the options that are available for you are really limited. I can't call that, but I'll spend maybe a little bit more time on what is not allowed. So can I finance real estate inside of my retirement account? And the answer is yes. You can finance it, but it has to be special type of financing. It has to be what's called a non-recourse loan. And non-recourse means that, now let's talk about what is the recourse loan. So if you personally buy a property in your own name, whether it's primary residence or investment property, you go to the bank, you say, okay, I've got 20% down, here's my credit, here's how much money I make, here's how much money I have in the bank. The bank looks at that, looks at the property, good risk, they give you a loan. But you personally responsible for that loan, paying that loan, so you sign a personal guarantee. So if you stop making payments and the bank takes property back and you still owe the balance, they're going to come after you. Cannot do that with an IRA or 401k. So it has to be non-recourse, and that means that the property is the only security for the loan. The lender cannot come after you or any other assets inside of your IRA or 401k. So because of that, the down payment typically higher because there is a higher risk for the lender. So typically, you need to come up with 30 to 50% down, depending on the year. Property must sustain itself, must produce positive cash flow. You must have enough cash reserves in your retirement accounts to pay typically 10% of the purchase price. It will trigger unrelated debt financing and tax if you do that inside of an IRA, but it will be exempt if you do it in a 401k. Most banks, they don't provide these types of loans. So you need to deal either with, there's a few lenders that we work with, they're nationwide lenders, about 3 of them that do this kind of loans, and they're pretty decent. Or you can also do loan with a private lender. If one of you wants to buy a property and then another individual who has money, they can actually enter your retirement account. But you're going to end up paying quite more than if you were to use banks. So what are the things that you cannot do? What are the prohibited transactions? Well, let's look at the investment types. What is it that you cannot invest in? And there's only 2 things that you need to remember. Only 2 things that you cannot invest in, and number 1, that's collectibles. So anything that is considered collectible, that can be collectible stamp or coin or artwork, collectible automobile. Anything that is considered collectible is not allowed inside of your retirement account. And the S-corp. And the reason for the S-corp because you have to be a physical person to invest in the S-corp, and the 401k or IRA is an entity, it's not a physical person. And then on top of that, the IRS says that your retirement account cannot conduct any business with disqualified person. And disqualified person is yourself and your spouse, your children and grandchildren and their spouses, your parents and grandparents, or any entity that any of those people control or own a majority interest. So just for simplicity, it's easy to remember. Think vertical. Okay, so vertical your retirement account cannot do. But the horizontal, your brother or your cousin or your aunt is okay. So your retirement account can do business with. So what is it that you cannot do? The sale, exchange, or leasing of property between the plan and one of those persons. Lending money or extension of credit between the plan and disqualified person. You cannot do that. Providing any goods or services. Transfer of any property to disqualified person. And then you cannot receive any kind of compensation for providing any services. So the actual example, and that comes quite often. So people ask, can I do have a property that I own personally, can I transfer that inside of into my IRA 401k? No, you cannot, because that will be your retirement account buying property from you. You're a disqualified person. You cannot do that. You cannot use your 401k as a security for a loan, and you cannot provide personal guarantee for a loan. You cannot sell personal assets. We talked about that. Receiving any consideration for providing services. Often a question comes up, I'm a real estate agent, I want to set up a 401k and I want to buy the property, can I represent myself? No, you cannot. You cannot represent whether you get paid or unpaid, you cannot provide any services for that. And then you cannot commingle funds between your retirement account and yourself or your business. You got to keep that separate. It always has to be an arm's length transaction, so there's has to be no conflict of interest between yourself and the fund. Yes.
You said as a real estate agent, you cannot represent you if you're not getting paid?
No.
What about value adding to the property? Rehab, even though you're not getting paid, you're investing in rehab.
No, you can do the rehab to the property, you just cannot do any work yourself personally. Okay. And an easier way to kind of remember that, what you can and cannot do is think about this, a blue-collar job versus white-collar job, right? White-collar, you're in the office, you're doing the paperwork. Blue-collar is you're actually there, you're cleaning, you're painting, you're replacing windows and things like that. So you cannot do any of that. You cannot do any sweat equity, but you can direct, you can pick the contractors, you can do things like that. As a trustee, you're managing the plan. The process is quite simple. Again, this option is quite simple. Number one, the business adopts the plan. The plan is established. Next step is funding. You fund the plan either by making contribution or trust in another retirement account, and then you make the investment by check. Buying real estate is quite easy. All of the gains and profits go back into your retirement account. You cannot use that yourself currently. And then all of the expenses for the property must come out from the plan. You cannot pay with the personal funds for that. All right, I think this is it. Now I do, for SAM's members, I do offer a free consultation, so you guys are free to contact me. This is my office. I've got flyers in the back. I got business cards, so be sure to grab one. And then again, we also offer special discounted pricing for members of SAM's Real Estate Club. So you guys take advantage of that. And I think I have some time for questions, right? Q&A?
Sure, I think yeah.
Okay.
Just a quick question. So you don't need to do a 1031 when you're selling the property because it's irrelevant?
Exactly. The great benefit that you don't have to do a 1031 exchange because you don't own the property. Your retirement account owns the property. So when you sell that property, there's no capital gain taxes. It's not realized because it's inside of the retirement account. Let me give you an example. Think about your current retirement account, right? Let's say 10 years ago you bought, $10,000 worth of Microsoft stock or Apple stock, and now it's worth, $100,000. When you sell that inside of your IRA, Do you have to pay any tax? Do you? No, because it's in a tax sheltered vehicle. So the same thing, it can be, the same applies for any asset, whether it's, stocks or real estate or bonds, the same applies. So no, you don't have to worry about company management.
Just follow up, what are your services? Are you only there at the front end and that's it, or are you there every year to make sure it's
We
compliant?
maintain your plan documents, make sure everything is IRS compliant, but we have no access to your funds. We never touch your money, we just provide the services of setting up your fund, make sure it's IRS compliant, and make sure it stays that way. So we do annual updates to the plan documents as IRS changes its regulations.
Do we have to give you some reports every year?
You have to look in the IRS, no, not to us, not to us.
Not you.
No. Another question?
Yes, repeat the question when they ask the question. Repeat the question. When they ask the question.
Okay.
Quick question. First, actually two. What are your fees to set up an account with you or to do the transactions? And second, how long is your company been in business?
Been in business since 2000, and normally fee to set up a solo 401k is $1,200. You get $200 off being a member of some real estate fund.
And per transaction, you charge any fees or
There is
anything?
no transaction fees.
Thank
No.
you.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Timmy.
All right.